Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleshcourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleshcourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back to Just Ask Her, the podcast that helps you date with confidence, connect with real women, and finally feel in control of your dating life. I'm your host, Gracie, here with my co-host and mom, Tracy, and we're excited to be back for another episode.
Episode 35. All right, let's jump into the first submission written in by Luke. He says, I was chatting with this girl for a month before I went overseas. We went on 3 amazing dates that we both described as our best dates ever. From what I gathered, our relationship goals seemed aligned during that time. However, once I arrived overseas, I received a message from her saying she didn't want a relationship and preferred to remain friends. So we agreed to stay friends. I spent 3 weeks overseas and kept our communication limited. Once I got back home, I messaged her to let her know I was back safely and eager to see her. She replied saying we couldn't remain friends and we haven't spoken since. I still have very strong feelings for her and have no idea how to approach the situation. It's been over a month without contact. I know she has an overseas trip planned in September, and I was thinking of messaging her around that time to wish her safe travels. I also bought tickets to a game we both follow, but I can't attend anymore, so I was planning to send the tickets to her anonymously so she could take someone else. Are there any other ways I could approach this? I want her in my life, but I'm very confused about how we went from best dates ever to no contact in a week.
This one kind of is throwing me a little bit. There's a lot of twists in this.
Yeah, it's very disorientating.
Yeah.
Because when someone tells you that they've just had the best dates ever and then walks away with no warning, your brain doesn't know how to file that. Was it real? Did I misread that? How did we go from alignment to absence? I don't get it.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some missing pieces in here. I'm not saying that you're lying or that you're intentionally leaving things out, but sometimes our brains like to leave pieces out of the story. We are never the villain in our own story. And because of that, our brain likes to create these narratives around what happened, why it happened, and how things went awry. And sometimes our brain gets those stories a little bit mixed up, or it doesn't let us see the full story of things. I've had this happen before. There was a guy that I was seeing for over a month. I had been out with this guy 4, 5 dates maybe. I had met his parents. I had met a lot of his friends. And then out of nowhere, ghosted. Nothing. And that was the story that I held on to for a little while and felt like very bitter about. I was just angry. Like, what the heck? I literally met this kid's family. I met this kid's friends. Like, what in the world just happened? And then when I stepped back a little bit and actually looked at the full story itself, there were things that we were each finding out about each other that weren't necessarily aligning, that were very clear weren't necessarily aligning, but neither of us wanted to address. He was very much liking to go out and party and do things. And I was like, sure, we can go do this, even though it wasn't something that I typically do. I wasn't a huge drinker at the time. And he very much was. No, I'm not now. I don't drink at all really anymore. But at the time I was still drinking. So I would go out with him and his friends. But that wasn't really aligned with my lifestyle. I just was making it fit because I liked this guy and I wanted to keep seeing him. There are things my brain was like, it's fine. It'll be fine. I like being around this guy. If he likes to go out, I can go out from time to time. And it just became more and more of a thing that was not aligned with my lifestyle. And I was trying to make it fit very subconsciously. And when I was able to step away from that, when I had enough space from it after the fact, it was like, oh, obviously nobody likes to be ghosted, but it makes sense that this would have never worked. We would have never been a good fit long term. That was just a role that I was playing to try and make it fit. And so I only tell you that story because I think that it's important to really look at the facts of it. Was there anything that wasn't aligned? I know that it's easy to find the things that did feel aligned and that were super exciting, but was there anything that didn't align or that didn't really make a whole lot of sense for the two of you to be together? Sometimes we like to skip over those things, especially when we're feeling hurt or especially when things feel fresh. It feels like out of nowhere, things just ended. But I would challenge you to actually consider, were there things that maybe didn't make full sense here?
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense that you're confused because the relationship didn't end with an understanding. It ended with uncertainty. It leaves you to ruminate longer. It wears on your self-worth, and it just attracts more confusion. So you're not confused because you're too sensitive. You're confused because the ending lacked any sort of coherence. And what makes it harder is that you're still clinging to those moments of closeness that you had because they were real. But the neuroscience of it is that hope without clarity activates your brain's reward system, just like a slot machine. And so these intermittent signals of warmth followed by silence also creates this powerful loop. And your brain keeps spinning that wheel, wondering, will I get a response this time? Will she come back if I send something nice, something low pressure? Like, this isn't just neuroscience. I know it's your heart. You're still hoping that the magic of those dates meant as much to her as they did to you. And maybe they did, but the real connection is proven not in the chemistry, it's proven in the consistency. And so far, her actions don't match the hope that you're holding on to. So you asked if there was another way to approach this. And here's what I have to offer. Please don't send those tickets.
Definitely don't send those tickets.
Not because it's wrong, but because it keeps you in that loop.
Yeah. I would ask yourself, like, are you sending the tickets because you genuinely want her to have them? Or are you sending the tickets because some part of you is secretly hoping that it opens the door for conversation again or opens the door for a possible relationship again? Because I completely understand wanting to send them to her because you guys had a great connection and you do care about her and all the things. But yeah, I agree. This just keeps you stuck in this same position.
Yeah. And if she reaches out again, that door can be reopened with your self-respect intact. But for now, I'd say close it. And not out of bitterness, but out of self-trust and self-worth. This is your chance to stop chasing this possibility and start anchoring into reality. The man who planned those amazing dates, he deserves someone who doesn't disappear the moment things get real. You don't need closure to move forward. You just need the courage to stop feeding a hope that no longer feeds you back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. It makes me feel like there's like missing pieces in here. The fact that she's just all of a sudden, nope, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's not what happened. I have seen some weird shit. So I'm not saying that you're lying or anything, but it's not registering how somebody just goes from amazing dates to don't ever talk to me again.
Because if she is, then Mama Tracy wants to throat punch her.
Yeah. It is confusing. I get it. I can understand why you would want to hold out hopeless and why you would want to see if there's still a possibility, but I don't think it should be at your expense. Nope. If there is a possibility, then it will come back around and you can explore it then. But I don't think that you should explore this right now with how things were left.
Nope. All right. So keep us updated, Luke.
It's finally here. The Self-Made Man Dating Journal is officially live and ready for you to grab on Amazon. This was designed specifically for single men who are serious about improving their dating life. It helps you track your dates, reflect on your experiences, and actually learn from them, so you can stop repeating old patterns and start seeing real progress.
What I love most about this journal is how intentional it is. It's not just about writing down what happened, it's about helping you get clear in what you want, confident in how you're showing up, and connected to what's working and what's not. You'll find daily prompts, weekly reflection pages, and the date log. You'll record everything from how you felt before the date, what went well, what felt off, and what you do differently next time. That kind of self-awareness is what sets successful daters apart. This journal will help you slow down, spot patterns, and become more intentional with every single interaction.
We only printed a limited batch for this first run, so if this is something you've been needing, go grab it now before they're gone. We'll drop the link in the show notes and let us know what you think. We love hearing your guys' feedback.
We can't wait for you to start using the Self-Made Man Dating Journal.
All right, submission 2 was written in by Spencer, and it says, hoping to get some understanding here because I'm very confused. I'm 30 years old, live in Georgia, and working as an engineer technician at a robotics company. My hobbies mainly include cars and motorcycles. Here's the story. I went out for a ride with some friends and we stopped at a restaurant for lunch. The server, 28, and I seemed to have some chemistry while we were there, so I decided to leave my number on the receipt. Good move. On the way out, before she even had time to get back to our table, she pulled me aside to ask if I was single, and she gave me her number. I was absolutely thrilled because she's gorgeous, likes motorcycles, and used to ride herself. I asked her on a date the next day and we went to dinner. Everything went really well and we continued seeing each other. We averaged about 1 date per week and ended up seeing each other 4 times in total. After about our 4th date, we had already made plans for the next 2. We had great chemistry and our conversations always flowed so naturally, even to the point that we'd sometimes spend multiple hours talking on the phone. Fast forward to the day of our 5th date, she had been feeling sick for a couple days, and even though she seemed to be getting better, she ended up canceling, saying she just wasn't feeling up to it. I didn't think much of it, though I obviously was disappointed. By this point, I was already thinking about making things exclusive with her because we've shared very similar political and religious views, lifestyle choices, and even opinions on parenting. She canceled the date, and I heard from her the next day, Sunday, when she texted me goodnight. I texted her the following morning and didn't hear back. I sent another goodnight text that evening, again, no response. I waited through Tuesday to see if she'd reach out first, but nothing. As of now, it's been a week and a half since I last heard from her. I can't, for the life of me, figure out what went wrong. It's incredibly upsetting because I never have been more interested in a woman or more certain that I wanted a relationship with someone. For additional context, our first date was dinner followed by drinks at a bar so we could keep talking. The second date was dinner and an arcade. Afterwards, I walked her back to her car and she made a move to kiss me, saying she was tired of waiting. Our third date was a quick lunch at a Cuban restaurant near her place. I brought her flowers in a vase on my motorcycle. I arrived early and had them set up on the table before she even got there. She mentioned that bringing them, despite the hassle, made it extra special. The 4th date was at my place. We watched a movie she liked and just cuddled. The only thing I noticed, probably too late, was that she was wearing a fancy bra, which I saw when scratching her back. I didn't think too much of it in the moment and didn't make a move to be intimate, which I now regret because I believe that might have been what she was hoping for. Towards the end of the night, as we were laying down and cuddling, I asked her what she was thinking about, and she replied, "When the next time I can see you is." And that was the last time we saw each other. I can provide more details if needed.
Well, it is no wonder that this experience has left you shaken and confused.
Yeah, man, these are heavy.
They are. It breaks my heart a little bit, but the guys are all doing mostly everything right. There's been actually very little tactical advice given because it comes down to a numbers game sometimes. You've got to keep your high standards and keep doing more of what you're doing. Spencer, in your case, the way that you described these dates, the thoughtfulness, the shared values, the chemistry that you guys had, you were being so intentional. And it sounds like there was a real connection. And that kind of intentionality can make this kind of silence feel like a gut punch. So I get it. Let's start with what didn't happen. You didn't get ghosted because you came on too strong. You didn't ruin things by not escalating physically when she wore a pretty bra. And you certainly didn't mess up by showing care and consistency or vulnerability. I feel like you were doing exactly what an emotionally available man does. You moved with clarity. You listened. You gave space when needed. And you showed affection in a very respectful way. And believe it or not, that might be exactly what triggered her to pull away. According to research on adult attachment, people with avoidant attachment styles often struggle when emotional intimacy deepens. So at first, it feels good. It feels safe and exciting. Sometimes it even feels healing. But once real vulnerability enters the picture, their nervous system can interpret it as a threat. So as intimacy grows, so does this unconscious fear of being engulfed or being chased or losing control or getting hurt. So they disconnect. And it's not because the connection wasn't real. It's because it actually was. I can completely relate to this. One of my triggers is being chased. It has always been like that. The minute somebody started slathering me with gifts or reached out more than felt comfortable,
Gave you the ick.
it totally gave me the ick and I completely pulled away. And it didn't have as much to do with them. It had everything to do with where I was emotionally. I've learned that about myself. And so it's not them. It truly is the way this woman is interpreting and the capacity to handle this sort of emotional maturity.
It's so heavy because I'm like, the way you laid it out, it sounds great. It sounds like there would be no issue here. And if things truly played out this way, then I'm sorry. I can completely understand why this was so confusing and honestly hurtful. You did put in a lot of effort and you were doing everything right. And it sucks that she is going to leave things hanging like this. And I don't think this has anything to do with you as a person or your worth or what it is that you deserve.
Yeah, I don't think like he was too much in this situation. That's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to actually get across the point that women who feel like they're in unfamiliar or unsettling territory, it's typically because they're used to more chaos and inconsistency. So it scares them.
Yeah,
but you're
definitely
not too much for her. You're probably too real for her.
Right. Yeah. You were probably too good, to be honest. It sounds like she could have some avoidant tendencies.
But that's not something you're going to be able to fix by texting her again. And it's certainly not going to be fixed by you replaying this over and over in your head. I want you to work hard at honoring everything that you did and holding your ground.
My initial thought is you definitely shouldn't reach out. You shouldn't send another message. I think you stepping away and not looking back speaks volumes to your character, your confidence, your self-worth. The most powerful people when it comes to dating are the people who can do this, like that can truly like look at something for what it is and walk away.
Let it be a reminder to yourself that you didn't lose her. You revealed her readiness and you showed your own. I think that is a great equalizer. Every single time that you have this urge to text her or question what happened
or go back to that bar.
Yeah, you need to remind yourself, like, I did not lose her. I revealed where she was actually at in her journey. And I also know where I'm at in my journey. I think you are the kind of man who sets the table for something real. And the right woman is not going to run from that. She will absolutely take a seat at that table and she's going to stay there. Unfortunately, most of the women who have been written in about today are not those women.
Don't you sometimes wish we could get both sides? Have you seen those shows where they do like the callers from both sides? The guy calls in about the story and then they call the girl. Like, don't you wish sometimes we...
Honestly, not really, because I prefer to take the side of the man and just I'm on his team.
Oh, totally. So, but sometimes to just understand
if we got her on the phone, I would want to let loose on her and just be like, help us understand your POV here.
I'm so sorry this happened, Spencer. I think it's fascinating how people's minds work, because from a woman's perspective, it's the fuck? How could you do that? That is so effed up.
Yeah.
But it honestly makes me so curious. I genuinely want to know what the thought process was here for her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I do try to have empathy for them without digging too deep. And like I said, I can relate to showing up like that, like starting to disconnect when somebody was absolutely perfect for me. I grew up in a broken home and I was used to a lot of chaos and not a lot of like affection being shown. And so the minute that started to show up, it scared the hell out of me. And I would just be like, yeah, I'm out of here. So it really does have so much more to do with her than anything to do with you.
Yeah.
But the woman that's going to appreciate everything that you have to offer, she's out there. This is a numbers game. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting out on the dates.
Oh my God. There are so many women that like that, the women that are emotionally available and have worked on their shit, like that would take you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Women listening to this, I know we have a small
I was just gonna say
female audience,
but the ones who listen,
there are people we know for the most part. There's not a huge female audience listening to the Just Ask Her podcast, but
high quality women who tell us,
like friends of ours,
how could I get in touch with this person or that person? Or they'll make comments on how amazing these men sound. And so they're out there, guys. It is a numbers game.
Yeah.
Hey there. If you're loving the Just Ask Her podcast, please take a quick second to rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps more awesome listeners like you find the show. And don't forget to spread the love by sharing this episode with all of your friends. All right, back to Just Ask Her. Okay, so submission 3 is from Conor. Hi, Tracy and Gracie. First off, thank you for taking the time to read this and for creating a space where people can share things like this. I really appreciate what you both do. I'm 30 years old and have never been in a relationship. I've genuinely tried to put myself out there. I've done 2 speed dating events. Only one woman matched with me, and we went on 3 dates. But then she told me she didn't feel a romantic spark. I wished her the best and moved on. I've also tried online dating on and off over the years, but that's mostly led to being ignored or rejected. I even had female friends help me improve my profile and still 0 matches. I've asked women out in real life too, and it's been the same story. One recent experience really messed with my head. There was a woman I was close with. We were just friends, but it felt like we had a real connection. I asked her out and she turned me down, but we continued texting almost every day. We didn't hang out much due to our schedules, but the connection still felt strong. When she got into a relationship, I backed off out of respect. Eventually, they broke up and we started talking more again. Then she started dating someone new, and once again, we scaled things back. Then out of nowhere, she blocked me on Snapchat. I later found out she had gotten engaged. We'd spoken since until suddenly she texted me out of the blue, reminiscing and being warm. A few days later, she blocked my number without explanation. She had even promised she wouldn't kick me out of her life, which made it all sting more than I expected, especially because I'd opened up to her about my past and how many people have done that to me before. At this point, I'm wondering, should I go into ghost mode, take a break from dating and focus on myself, getting in shape and developing better hobbies? Is there anything specific I should be working on before getting back into the dating scene? How do I keep my confidence and hope alive through all this rejection without becoming jaded or bitter? And should I be upfront about never having been in a relationship or just let that come out naturally? And finally, I feel like I've been doing what I'm supposed to, putting myself out there, being respectful, and staying open. Is there something I might be missing that I'm just not seeing? Outside of dating, I have a solid life. I have close friendships, a steady job, and personal goals I'm working towards. Because of my work schedule, I don't have a lot of time for hobbies, but I'm trying to change that. I'm self-aware and emotionally available, and I try to meet people with sincerity and curiosity. I'm not looking for perfection, just someone I can be real with, laugh with, and grow alongside of. I'm open to honest feedback, even if it's hard to hear. I know love isn't a formula and that timing plays a role too. I'm just trying to figure out how to stay hopeful and honest while I'm still in the waiting. Thanks again for your time, your insight, and your honesty. I really respect what you both bring to the table and would be grateful for any advice. Warmly, Conor. Once again, another woman that needs more help than the men.
Yeah.
This submission stopped me in my tracks because I picked them again this week. And
I'm hearing these for the very first time.
Yeah. So it stopped me in my tracks in the best way. It's not just what you're asking, Conor. It's how you're asking it with presence, sincerity, humility, and a strength. Like, you're not looking for the shortcuts. You're looking for meaning. And that tells me that you are already becoming the kind of partner that you want to find. But we need to get honest about what it is that you're feeling, like that ache, that quiet, why not me? That is not weakness. That's what it feels like to have a heart that refuses to shut down in a space that doesn't know how to meet it. You asked whether you should go into ghost mode and just focus on yourself for a while. And that is fine, but don't do that as an escape. You can do that as a realignment tactic, not as a reaction to being unseen. If you're going to do that, you need to do that with intention, in a very conscious state, with the objective to recenter. And here's the thing, a break from dating doesn't mean that you're giving up. It's making space. It's not saying, I'm not enough. It's saying, I just need to kind of refuel before I offer myself again. If that's what you really want to do, because I also think it doesn't have to be one or the other. I think you can simultaneously date while continuing to work on yourself. I don't think one has to stop to make room for the other. But if that's what you choose to do, that's totally fine.
Yeah. It sounds like maybe you're struggling with a lack of options as well, not for a lack of trying. Sounds like you've gone to the speed dating events, which I have my own thoughts and opinions on. You've done the apps. You have even dabbled in some of the connections you already had with women.
You can tell he's listened to the podcast, or at least your Instagram reels, because he named all of the ways to connect with people.
Yeah. I am really proud of you for putting yourself out there and actually trying things like that. Sometimes is half the battle. Apps aren't for everyone. They are a very competitive space, and there can be very small things wrong with your profile. It's not really wrong. It's just not necessarily catching the attention of the women that you're trying to reach, which is obviously the main point of it. And women are seeing thousands of profiles getting hundreds of likes. And so the name of the game has to be, how can I stand out? And so if your profile is missing certain things, or it has certain things that are sending women the other way, it can make all the difference. I won't go too much into this because we talk about it a lot in prior episodes, but I do have a free guide on this. If you go to datingwithgracie.com and put in your name and email, you'll get immediate access to that, and as well as my newsletter where I put out tips every single week for dating. If you feel like that would be helpful to at least give you a good solid foundation on where to start with your profile, definitely check that out.
And Conor, I don't know if this would make you feel better, but just so you know, 31% of US adults aged 25 through 34 are single. And many of them, especially men, report having never been in a long-term relationship. And we just don't talk about that enough. Because that's not talked about, it's almost reinforcing that love has some sort of weird age limit, and somehow you're behind. And that's not true.
Yeah, it's interesting because for women, there's obviously a little bit of a timeline. There's a biological clock if you're wanting to have your own kids, right? There actually is a real kind of timeline there. That's not to say that there should be all this pressure on the timelines, but for men and women, there is no falling behind. There is no being behind when it comes to dating. Life happens. Even if you were to have found your person in your early 20s or whatever, life happens. There's lots of men that I work with that thought that they were on the right timeline and life had other plans for them, and that relationship is no longer around and they feel like they're quote unquote starting over. There is always opportunity to move forward or to start over or to find your person. I can totally understand. I've had those thoughts before when I was single in the past of, oh shit, am I too late? Are all the good ones taken? And so I totally get it. But one, that line of thinking is never helpful. It definitely doesn't motivate you to want to move forward in your dating life. It's important that you check in with yourself if that is a reoccurring thought, even just asking yourself if that's helpful. sometimes that alone can help you stop the spiral a little bit. Because if it's not helpful, it's not helpful, and we don't need to debate it any longer.
Yeah. And I think something else that you could do is change the unit of measure or the metric of success from did I get a date or did someone want me back to did I stay true to myself? Did I lead with emotional maturity? Am I building a life I love regardless of who's watching? Those are huge metrics to use as standards. The others can be very self-sabotaging. It's almost setting yourself up for the pain because what matters most is leading with emotional maturity, is building the life that you love for yourself that you eventually would be proud to share with. So you asked how to keep hope alive through rejection. And the way you do that is by trading the self-criticism for self-compassion. A study published in Social Psychology found that people who treat themselves with grace after romantic disappointment recover faster. They re-engage more easily and they maintain stronger self-worth. This isn't about being okay with rejection. It's about refusing to make rejection mean that you're broken. We've said it a million times, but rejection can be God's protection or it can be redirection. Don't make it mean something about your worth. Conor, you are not broken. You're just early in a story that's meant to run very deep. And you're right, there is no formula, but there is a foundation that you've already laid. Friendship, stability, values, emotional availability. These aren't things you build for someone. These are the things that you build so that when someone comes along who's ready to meet you there, there's room for her and you're proud to share it with her. And I would really try on the thought that you don't need to be with anyone else. You don't need a new strategy. You just need to stay grounded long enough to let the right person see you clearly. So if you want to take a break, go for it. Work on habits, nurture joy that doesn't depend on being chosen. But don't do it because dating isn't quote unquote working for you. Do it because you want to do it. And when love finally lands, you're not going to be starting over. You're not starting from scratch. You're going to be ready. You'll be very confident in yourself and the time investments that you've made.
Yeah.
In preparation.
I can understand why you would want to like put a halt and wait until you have these other things in your life going on to start dating again. But I honestly think they can be done side by side. Getting in better shape, also a great way to meet women. Developing better hobbies, also a fantastic way to meet women. They can go hand in hand. It's not necessarily a guy who has it all figured out that's super attractive. It's a guy that wants to better himself, that wants to keep becoming the best version of himself. A guy that actually has goals, that has ambitions. Like that is so attractive and telling to women because looks fade, like things change.
Dad bods happen.
Yeah. And women get flabby.
True that. Before, after.
Whatever. No, it's crazy to me to base a relationship solely off of physical attraction or off of external things that are short term. That is the person that you spend the most time with. If you are not picking from a place of do we align? Do we get along? Do we like each other? Do we communicate well? Do we have things in common? If those are not at the top of your list, it's probably not going to work. Those things mainly have to do with like your values and who you are as a person than anything else. Yes, it's great that you take care of yourself and it's great to be a guy that has lots of hobbies. Those things can make you more attractive or help you get attention from women. But that attention only lasts for so long if those other core pieces aren't there. Your time is best spent learning how to highlight those pieces about yourself rather than trying to create all these external things about yourself. Those can be great ways to meet more women and to get you attention. Yes. And I think that if you're doing them for you, getting in shape, like taking care of yourself, finding hobbies you love, then yes, go do it. That does make you more attractive because it's telling when you are a guy that like truly is fulfilled and enjoys his life and enjoys the things around him. Like that is attractive. It's not necessarily like having a six pack or like being the most social person.
Well, and you always hear like things come when you least expect it. And the reason why that happens is because your focus has shifted. So if you start focusing on health and wellness and it puts you inside of a gym where you meet somebody, it probably qualifies as this happened when I least expected it to, but it was because you were focusing on something else. And that might be a great strategy for you right now. Give your brain a respite from the dating scene and focus on something else that you're passionate about. And you never know what could happen. When you're feeling satisfied in any area of life, you're going to open up space for new ideas. The satisfaction is going to completely drive different behaviors for you. So that's why you're not going to hear Gracie or I discouraging you from quote unquote taking a break to work on yourself. I think it's a great idea, but don't do it from like this victim mentality. Do it from an empowered...
Or like I can't date unless I have these things.
Right. Do it from an empowered place. Like I'm doing this because I want to bring even more to the table. I'm doing this because this is what I've chosen to do. This is the man that I'm becoming.
Yeah.
Our Self-Made Man journal is awesome because it really draws out of you what it is that you want and how to go about getting it so that you can be very convicted in what it is that you bring to the table and the decisions that you've made about who it is that you're looking for. Those are questions that we don't ask ourselves. And you really need to. You really need to have some certainty and clarity around that when you're active in the dating scene. So we created that journal specifically for that reason. And then in the back, there's a date log that helps you learn even more about yourself.
For when you do start getting back out on dates.
Exactly.
Even the daily component of it, we made the prompts very simple. Because if you're anything like me, I don't like journaling, like free journaling. I feel like the minute I sit down to put pen to paper, my mind goes blank. And so having actual prompts to help me think through my thoughts and like actually figure out where my mind is at is so helpful. And so we prompt you every single day with questions that will help you get more intentional in the dating scene.
Yeah. And really strike up more confidence in who it is that you're becoming.
And to give you a place to like actually track your progress. So like really show you where you started to who it is you're becoming.
Yep, exactly.
Last thing on this, and this is not a dig, Connor. This is more for all the men because I hear it so often. Get off Snapchat. Knock it off with the Snapchat. Honestly, it gives me the heaves a little bit to hear the word Snapchat in the same sentence of talking to a girl or trying to ask out a girl, or if all of the communication with your friend or the girl that was blocking you, unblocking you was happening through Snapchat, delete it. Get rid of it. Snapchat is not a good way to communicate with girls that you're interested in. If you like it because you like to stay connected to your friends and you like to see people's stories, fine, keep it then. But do not message women that you're interested in over Snapchat. It honestly, it sends a message that you're one, not serious about them. When guys would ask me for my Snapchat from social media or at the bars or on dating apps, it was immediate. No, this guy's not really interested. He's more so interested in wasting my time.
Maybe he likes the filters.
Yeah, I like the filters too. And just even more so reason to not have Snapchat. Like, it's not a good option for communicating with somebody you're interested in. If you are trying to take somebody out, and I get this question all the time, Connor, that's why I'm saying it's not a dig to you, because literally I get this question all the time of if you should ask for a girl's number or ask for a girl's Snapchat or her Instagram. Always go for her number. Always show that you are genuinely interested and you actually want to take her out on a date. The best way to show that is to ask for her number.
Just ask her.
Just ask her for her number. Do not ask for the Snapchat. Do not ask for the social media, because it immediately sends this message that, one, either you're not confident in yourself, or two, you're not interested in anything like real or serious. You're more so interested in filters or something casual or hookups or whatever it is. And just don't do it. Just rid yourself of that barrier, because women will be so much more impressed by you if you are asking for their number rather than their Snapchat. So honestly, block that girl back and then delete it.
Ooh, Grace is getting feisty.
I don't see any reason to keep her in the ecosphere anyways.
Yeah, me either. All right.
All right, guys. That is it for this week's podcast. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dating with Gracie.
Not Snapchat.
Yeah, definitely not Snapchat. We look forward to seeing you right back here next week. And in the meantime, no matter where you are or what situation you're in, just ask her.